And when I look at His humanity, I find peace in the fact that He humbled Himself to come here for me. The King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, came as you and I did. He emptied Himself and came in the form of man. Born under the law, He was subject to death, even death on a cross. And He did that because He loves me. And I find great peace in that. And also, I know that He understands my pain. You know, oftentimes, have you ever had somebody say, I don't know, maybe you're going through a difficult time and somebody says, I know how you feel. And oftentimes, we really don't. I guess we don't know anything better to say than I know how you feel. I know what you're going through. And oftentimes, that's not the case. But I know Jesus knows how I feel. I know He understands what I'm going through because He's gone through the same things. In Hebrews 4:15, it says, we have a great high priest that was tested and tempted in every angle and sinned not. So I know that He understands my pain. And I find great peace in that. Now, we need to understand that names and titles express character. They express the activity, who a person is and what a person does. So through Christ's action, through His character, I know that He indeed is the source of peace. His character and His titles, what He's done, who He is, I can see that. First of all, I know that Jesus is the wise counselor who gives direction. There was a man outside of a courthouse, and he was sitting on the steps, and he had his face in his hands, and he was crying, sobbing. And a friend came up to him, and he said, "What's wrong? Did your lawyer give you some bad advice?" And he said, "No, it's even worse. He sold it to me." I thought I'd get a chuckle or two out of that, but you know. But you know what? We get good advice from Jesus Christ. He's the wonderful counselor. And here, this wonderful counselor can actually be translated as the wonder of a counselor. He's the one who gives wondrous counsel, unfailing wisdom. The word, and I find this interesting, the word wonderful is never used throughout Scripture for man, to describe man or what man's done or who man is. Only wonderful expresses who God is, who Christ is. Wonderful. And you know what? We live in the day of the counselor, the psychiatrist, and psychoanalyst, and it goes on and on. Now, we need those people. I'm not saying, don't go home and say, Scott said that counselors are worthless. I'm not saying that. We need people who can give good biblical counsel. But my question is who do we go to first? Who do I go to first? And I have the best counselor. I have the wise counselor in Jesus Christ. And look at what happened to Eve. At the beginning in Genesis, Eve went somewhere that she shouldn't have gone for counsel. She went to the evil one for counsel. And the devil got her involved in psychoanalysis. She went and got Adam involved in group therapy. And now what we have is the insanity of sin and what we have in the world today. Because she went to the evil counselor, she didn't go to the one who gives wise counsel. So is the case that we were plunged into sin from counsel from the evil one. But it's the wise counselor who's going to deliver us from that sin. Jesus is the wise counselor who gives me direction. In 1 Corinthians 1:24, it says, Jesus is the wisdom of God. He is the advisor, the teacher, the friend, my confidant. You will have peace when you listen to Him, when you follow His wise counsel. Well, also, Jesus is the mighty warrior who brings victory. Now, mighty God here in Hebrew is El Kippur. And how this can be translated is a hero God or a warrior God. And as I think about that, this word mighty God, this warrior God, this hero God, gives me an imagery of battle, of war, battleground. And that's exactly what it would happen. You see, Jesus would face a battle greater than Valley Forge and more decisive than D-Day. Have you ever heard that war brings peace? Oftentimes we've been told that, and Aristotle said, we make war that we may live in peace. Now, whether you agree with that or not, I know for sure one time that war brought peace. You see, Jesus Christ, He took the battlefield and He faced the forces of Satan and death and hell and the grave. And after the dust had settled, the battle was over. An empty grave stands as a monument that Jesus Christ was the warrior God, the hero God, who brings me peace. Jesus brought peace as my defender.